Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is October 11th, 2025, and that was a massive move in the cryptocurrency space. The liquidations in yesterday's move were larger than FTX, Luna, and the COVID crash combined. Okay, 19 billion of assets liquidated. Let me start this off by saying, if you were among the affected parties, and I'm not talking about our friends on, spot, and your spot levels went down, okay, fine, unrealized profits. That I can commiserate with. We can understand it sucks. Your portfolio's in the red, but you haven't lost your positions. Those of us on leverage that absolutely got wiped out, even if you set stop losses, even if you were in a conservative 2x, 3x long, you've lost everything more likely than not. Your stops were disrespected, the liquidation engines just kept on going, and you were liquidated. All your positions were given back to the exchange. This is one of the reasons why I've never strongly promoted leverage on this channel with my leverage, with my exchange partnerships or otherwise. I personally still use leverage, but please understand, leverage is a tool, and we want to use that tool to create bigger spot positions. This is the way. And more importantly, let me say, if you lost everything, the best traders in the world have lost everything many times over. Your life is more important than everything, than anything, than any stupid position, than any stupid portfolio. You can always make it back. There's always a chance. There's always a way. I do not want you to stay in despondency, to stay in depression because you went to zero, even if you were at 7, 8 figures, 9 figures, and went to zero. Please, please, please keep yourself in mind, take care of yourselves, and give yourself a little time. You'll be able to put this in perspective, and you'll make it back. All right, let's get on with the analysis. I want to talk about Bitcoin today, but more importantly, I want to talk about altcoins because that is the story. Bitcoin is doing what we expected it to do. I've been talking about this for almost a year. We've been saying Bitcoin was likely in a massive distribution channel that was in its final phases, and that distribution channel would ultimately lead to a historic liquidation event that took Bitcoin from these highs all the way down to the support on the chart at around 55 to 60K. Been saying that for almost a year. Been talking about how you will see exchanges, governments, you will see hedge funds lose everything in this move. But please keep it in mind that it's likely happening, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the beginning of the bear market or that everything's over. It's actually the end of the bear market and actually the beginning of the bull market for cryptocurrency. Okay? Now, the question is, what is likely to happen to altcoins, right? Talked about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, very quickly on the small time frames, is hanging out at the midline of our 90-day channel, our UTAD channel. And do expect for it to hang out here for a few more hours, maybe 60 or so hours. I'm expecting, based off of my analysis, what I've seen in other charts, for Bitcoin to just hang out until Monday evening, late Monday evening, early Tuesday morning, Eastern Standard Time, before continuing back down. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. There's not that much of a surprise there, right? Because the analysis on the high time frame says so. It has nothing to do with manipulation. It has nothing to do with some devious plot. This has been in the works for a year. If you can read the market signs, right? Such a large event takes time to build. This is Wyckoff's theory, right? These accumulation distribution channels take time to build. And then the liquidation events or the motive events are the result of all of that build up. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. That's pretty much all we're going to say on that today. Altcoins. I said very publicly and privately that yes, Bitcoin was likely to do this. Yes, Bitcoin is still in its bear market and it has to do one final move before that bear market ends. And every single time Bitcoin's been in a bull market, we've seen this cascade of liquidations prior to its bull market. So we're expecting that, and it's a given. But that before that happens, altcoins would get off of the lows. Altcoins would find a way to save themselves. And that didn't quite happen. What gives? It did and it didn't. Let me explain. So we're looking at the others chart. This is what I've been looking at as a proxy for altcoins in the recent past. I think it's better than the total 3 right now. And the others chart, while we were talking last, as we were, in the previous episode, was here. And I said, I've been looking at charts for almost a quarter of my life. This is a nice W reversal. We're at this neckline. This is going to break up, and it broke down. I was wrong. I was wrong on this read right here. But on the higher time frame, when we fell all the way down to the bottom of this 500-day channel and retraced almost immediately. Now, let me say this. Just because you bounce doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make a bullish reclamation. You can bounce and continue the move down. So let me say that. You're going to see both things happen. You're going to see some assets do this. You're going to see other assets do this. You're going to see other assets do that. Okay? So let's put that to the side. But on the whole, do expect altcoins on the others chart to do this. A bullish reclamation after a capitulative flush, completing this correction and initiating the bull market for altcoins. Do expect that. Okay? And so yesterday, I, processed the information. I painstakingly went through all of my client assets, everything that my clients trade, and reassessed the entire chart because, this event, such a large event, changes everything. Sometimes and it changes nothing. So I just had to make sure. And true indeed, some charts broke. What do I mean by that? I'm going to show you an example using the example I used in the previous episode. I showed you Alice. Okay? So what does it mean when a chart breaks? And this is important because, again, the majority of altcoins are bullish here. The majority of altcoins will bullishly reclaim their levels and make higher highs. But not every altcoin is quite prepared to do that. And some will need a little more time. Others are going the way of Bitcoin, as in completing their bear market, and so have even more time to spend consolidating. Alice, for instance, I was celebrating, saying, hey, this is the beginning of this bull market. Look at this chart. Look at these 1,000 days of accumulation, blah, 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 blah. Then the cascade of liquidations happened, and that happened. This chart is hereby broken. Why am I saying that? It's because if you look at the entirety of the chart, here you just have one move, one pair of corrective patterns. This is an insufficient amount of consolidation for the chart to be mature to go into a bull market. There's no way this goes into a bull market now. So this is an example of what I call a salvage mission, where if I were in this asset, I can still get out, break even, or even in slight profit, but it's not something that I'm trading for bullish continuation, right? My next target would probably be somewhere here, right? Or around there. And it always depends on my entry, but do you see what I mean? Like, I still need 2 more pairs of AB basing before saying this is complete. This is ready for the bull market. So I just want to say that there is a complexity to all of this, where when I'm saying, oh, altcoins are bullish, Bitcoin's bearish, like, it's not that simple. It really depends. And when you're looking at the others chart, again, it's an amalgam, it's an indicator, it's reflective of many altcoins, the majority of altcoins, but it's not necessarily going to tell you the story on each and every altcoin. And this is also why I'm extending that sale that I did in the previous episode, the flash sale, 24-hour flash sale. I'm extending it one more day for those of you who want to take advantage of my analysis and, you know, my being able to read a chart for you. Take advantage of the deal. I'm extending it for one more day. So, you know, just approximately tomorrow around this time, it'll be over, okay? But I'm extending the single asset analysis service for one more day because of what happened here, okay? And for those of you who ordered, everybody should have their analyses in their inboxes. I've completed all of them. In any case, so this is an example of what I would call a broken chart. But broken doesn't mean it's a dead chart, it's not going to do anything, it's going to zero. No. Yes, there are certain things that did go to zero, but by and large, this is exceedingly rare. Something like this is going to continue to consolidate until it's prepared and ready and mature for the bull market around here. If that's the shape and the style this consolidation takes, I'm just guessing here, okay? But basically, your strategy, if you're in something like this that was broken on the high time frame by this liquidation event, you're pretty much just looking to get out at break even or in slight profit at the next logical resistance, and you're waiting for that. That's it. You set your limit orders for that. That's it. Now, that being said, there are indeed, and I'm not going to show you, but there are many altcoins that not only are they not broken, but they didn't even break their mid-time frame, mid-term structures, and today they're putting in double-digit gains, okay? And they're already, based off of their charts, they already surpassed the levels that they fell from during the liquidation event, okay? So there's opportunity in this market, but again, you have to be able to read charts individually. But the trend in altcoins, generally speaking, as per this chart right here, is telling us that we should expect the bullish altcoins to give us a 4x, right? 300% is 4x, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but to give us a 4x to the next target. The other thing that this cascade of liquidation event did was push our initial targets higher, okay? This is reflexivity, right? In a market when you clear the order books in such a way, when you go down so much, you're going to go up that much more. Okay, so this is good because the days of choppy chop sideways stuff is pretty much over. Right now, we're in a phase where the market's moving. So there's more opportunity in crypto, actually, but you just have to know where to find it. Okay, so this is also why I think it's really important not to overgeneralize, not to say, oh, this is a buying opportunity. It could be, could also not be. This is, that was a low. Was it though? Right? Because again, for instance, let me just give you an example. There are some bullish altcoins that are one pivot away from going into a bull market. So they did this, right? They're going to do that. There are some altcoins that are already in their bullish phase because they didn't break structure and they put in their pivot in that cascade of liquidation. Do you see what I mean? So there's some altcoins that are going to do this. There's some altcoins that are going to do this. There's some altcoins that are going to do this. It's up to you to determine what's what. And don't go off of previous results. Oh, for 5-10 years, this altcoin's been doing that, and it's been a safe play, so that must be a safe play. Be very careful. Okay, that's all I'll say about that. Guys, I hope this was helpful. I know it's a bit ambiguous, but again, I have this crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service where I go into really fine detail of every asset and make strategies with my clients. So I'm not going to do that here as well. That's just not right. But I do have that flash sale for the single asset analysis if you want to take advantage of that. Again, I'm just going to run it for another day, and it's just $60, typically $120, and it may even go up. If my high time frame analysis stands, we get this pump in altcoins, Bitcoin goes to the target. I'm getting more and more work, so I'm going to have to increase the price so that I'm available and able to actually do my job. But for now, it's just 120, and for a brief time, it's just going to be 60. And the instructions for how to order that are in the pinned comment below. 4 methods of payment. Once you do that, send me an email, and you'll have the analysis within 24 hours. All right, guys, that's it. Take care. Stay safe. And remember, this is really important. We're doing this because we're trying to make a living, because we're trying to get out of debt, because we're trying to make, life-changing wealth, generational wealth. But at the end of the day, you're more important. It's money, and it's important, but you're more important. That's what I'll say. All right. Take care. Bye.
My prevalent time slot, I vocalize, too deep to localize. Even when I'm right on the surface, you act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi, I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest magnanimous. We body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind, here's where I begin. Should I smile or should I grin what's happening?